Okay, this lesson is about O Come Little Children in Book One. And there are two new techniques I'd like to teach you today, and I want you to try to master them. So what I'll do is I'll explain each of them, I'll demonstrate each of them, and then I'll play the song all the way through so that you can see how they fit together. Alright, the first technique is called a bridge or a tunnel. And it actually starts before the song is even played. So what I'm going to do is it requires the second finger being put down on the A string. So there it is. And I'm going to keep it until I need it. Now the first note of the song is actually an open E. But the first several notes go back and forth between an open E and that second finger. So I just want to be prepared. I want to be ready to go. So in order to do that, I'm going to take that second finger and make a bridge over the E string, and I'm going to be very careful to make sure no part of my second finger or any other finger is touching the open E. Because if it was touching, I'd get this kind of a sound. So like a little bit of a squeak, and that's not very pretty. So I make a bridge over the E string, I put my second finger down, and I'm going to keep it down. So I could go back and forth between the open E and the second finger as much as I want, and I don't have to lift the second finger off. I can do it as much or as little as I want. And that's actually exactly what happens in the beginning of the song. So even though the first note is an open E, I can go to my second finger when I need it, and I just keep it down. Watch the beginning of the song. Second finger back for another bridge. It starts all over again. I'm not going to lift the second finger off. Watch carefully. It doesn't move. Now it changes, and I put it back. So it only changes when I don't need the second finger anymore. But until I'm done with it, I keep it down and my hand doesn't move. The only thing that's going on is in my bow arm. Okay? So again, the tunnel or the bridge is putting down one finger, in this case it's the second finger, putting it down on the A string, tunneling completely over the E string, and making sure that you go back and forth without lifting that finger off. And be extra careful to make sure no part of your hand or your fingers is touching the open E, or else we get that squeaking sound. So that's the tunnel or the bridge. Okay, the next technique is all about the bow. And it's simply playing one note, in this case going up bow, stopping for just a little split second, and continuing up bow. So we actually put two notes together in the same direction. So think about it like a train going on the tracks. It's rolling along, it stops at a station, picks up some people, and then keeps going in the same direction. You don't want the train to go backwards. So it's the same thing here with your bow. So watch what that looks like. I start up bow, stop, and continue up bow, okay? So this happens at the end of every single line in O Come Little Children, and sometimes it's going back and forth between the A string and the E string, but it doesn't matter. You just play an up bow, stop at the station, pick up some people, and continue up bow. So let's see what that looks like. Before I even start, I'm going to get my tunnel or my bridge all set up, ready to go, okay? And then at the end of the line, look for the double up bow. Pick up some people at the train station, continue. Same thing, up bow, stop, pick up some people, keep going, okay? Now, it's important to remember that we need to stop and leave enough room to keep going. It's very easy if we're thinking about other things to forget to leave room to keep going, and we end up with something like this. Well, now I have nowhere else to go. I'm perfectly stuck. So you want to make sure you always leave enough bow for the extra up. Up and stop. I've got plenty of room to continue if I wanted to. Okay, and that happens at the end of every single line. We call that simply a double up bow, or in later on, we can even call that a hooked bow, where you're hooking one note to the next note and continuing. Either way, it's the same idea, okay? So I'm going to play the piece through, and there's only one other thing I want you to be aware of while I'm playing. We have the tunnel or the bridge. Watch very carefully for that. We have the double ups at the end of every line, and then there's the echo. We have the same music that happens right after you play it once loud, and then we want to play it again softly. Anytime you have the same music repeated, you want to do something a little different with it the second time. So listen for that. I'm going to perform for you "O Come Little Children" all the way through with the repeats. My tunnel's ready to go, or my bridge, and here we go.